When I hear about another tragic event, it can be very upsetting and disheartening. Sometimes, I find myself struggling with negative feelings towards God, wondering why He doesn't just get rid of all the evil in the world. The amount of sin and suffering on earth feels overwhelming. There are tragic events like the school shooting in Parkland, Florida, bombings that harm innocent people in places like Syria, and the terrible experiences of young women trapped in sex trafficking. During these moments, I often feel frustrated with God, asking why He doesn't intervene to stop this suffering and put an end to all this pain. The origin of our adversary, the devil, is explained in biblical accounts. He is known by various names such as Satan, Lucifer, the prince of demons, and the father of lies. He has been part of horror stories for so long that many people think he is just a fictional character made up to scare children and entertain movie audiences. However, the Bible provides a deeper understanding of his beginnings. Before his fall from heaven, Lucifer served God as a guardian cherub. Although the Bible does not give a precise timeline for Satan's origin, passages from Ezekiel and Isaiah offer insights into his story. According to these prophets, Satan was an angel known as the morning star or Lucifer. As an angel, Lucifer walked on God's holy mountain and was a member of the guardian cherubim, one of the highest ranks among angels in God's heavenly host, second only to the seraphim. Being appointed as a cherub was a significant honor in heaven, as the cherubim held a prominent position. God himself is described as enthroned between the cherubim. However, Lucifer's pride led to his fall from heaven. At the beginning of his existence, Lucifer was created good, as all of God's creations are. The scriptures describe him as blameless in his ways, a model of perfection, full of wisdom, and possessing perfect beauty. God trusted Lucifer by appointing him as a cherub, giving him a position of authority among the heavenly beings. However, Lucifer was not content with the power and beauty that God had bestowed upon him. His pride grew, and he became corrupt and violent, no longer willing to submit to God's authority. This arrogance led him to scheme ways to surpass God and gather other angels to support his rebellion. Lucifer's sin was rooted in pride, rebelling against God, and seeking to steal the praise and glory that belongs solely to the Lord Almighty. Fortunately, Satan's prideful attempt to overthrow God's throne ended in failure. As a consequence of his rebellion and disrespect for his angelic position, God expelled Lucifer from heaven along with his rebellious angels, casting them down to earth and ultimately condemning them to hell. Jesus confirmed this fall from grace, likening it to lightning falling from the sky. The Apostle Peter also referenced the angels' expulsion to hell as a consequence of their sins. After being expelled from heaven, Lucifer realized he couldn't directly seize God's throne. Instead, he turned his focus to deceiving and tempting God's children, trying to turn them away from him. Thus, the once bright morning star known as Lucifer became humanity's adversary and accuser, known as Satan. Why does God allow Satan to live? To understand why God permits Satan to exist, we must first agree that God has the power to remove Satan anytime he chooses. Some may argue otherwise, citing rights or free will, but God's ultimate plan includes Satan's eventual removal. So why hasn't God removed Satan already? Wouldn't life be easier without the tempter causing us constant struggles and temptations? The Bible even teaches us to pray, "Lead us not into temptation." So why not remove the source of temptation altogether? While the Bible doesn't directly answer this question, we can make some educated guesses. One possibility is that God allows Satan to continue because it serves a greater purpose in displaying God's glory. The book of Job, dating back to around 600 BCE, tackles the age-old dilemma known as theodicy, which questions why God allows evil and suffering. At the start of the book, we see a scene where angels, including Satan, report to God. Satan's role is to test humans, presenting challenges for them to choose between good and evil. He functions like God's prosecuting attorney. When Satan mentions Job, a faithful servant of God, God allows Satan to test Job's loyalty by taking away his prosperity and health, but not his life. Job endures immense losses, including his children and his health. Despite his friends' claims that he must have sinned, Job maintains his innocence and questions God's justice. Eventually, God responds to Job from a whirlwind, reminding him of his vast power and wisdom, humbling Job and affirming God's sovereignty. When we face and overcome temptations, wrestling with the physical and moral challenges they bring, God's patience, mercy, and sustaining grace shine brightly. Even in situations where Satan directly causes suffering, God's greater plan is at work. For example, in the Bible, we see a woman whom Satan bound for 18 years. Yet, God allowed this suffering to reveal his mercy and power. Some may disagree with this approach, but trusting God's wisdom in managing evil leads to a deeper understanding of his ways. Additionally, Jesus entered into this spiritual battle, facing Satan's schemes and ultimately triumphing through his sacrifice. The glory that comes from our enduring faith in Christ amid Satan's attacks far outweighs a life without trials. Loving Jesus despite Satan's torments showcases his glory more brightly than if life were made easier by Satan's removal. Ultimately, it is our unwavering love for Jesus through trials that magnifies his glory and reveals our supreme satisfaction in him. Why didn't God eliminate Satan? What are your thoughts on this question? Share your insights in the comments. Thank you for participating, and we'll see you in our next video.